Greetings, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are on this beautiful earth. It is Sunday, October 27th. I'm your man who did it this time, coming at you with another episode, another installment to the classic series, Reality Clips, where we like to highlight and illuminate real life situations and put them in a metaphoric form to help the viewers, subscribers, haters, and strangers embody what it feels like to take on challenges, barriers, and eventually to conquer them. And the title of this installment is We All Taking the Same Test. We are all taking the same test. Giving honor to God and God alone. I wanted to make sure that I first get the viewers and the listeners to understand who we are when I say that we are all taking the same test. Last night I had a chance to break bread with some of my brothers who I haven't seen in many moons. One actually came in from out of town of the city known as Las Vegas. And we all sat together and we reminisced. We challenged one another with intellectual questions about the past, present. There was some eras when it came to the sports topics. And then just clashing of generations and different mindsets. All men, with some spectators being children and women, and some elders even came through. But it was just a good time. I believe that the dialogue was done in peace. And I wish all of those brothers nothing but success. They know who they are. But when I say we, I'm talking about from the understanding of who the Most High is. I've crossed paths like a lot of you brothers in the known with brothers who are a part of the Islamic faith. And then there are different sectors, the NOI, the FOI, the Nations and Gods and Earth, peace. You've dealt with other different type of Christians, Pentecostal, Baptist, which, that is my roots. And I will never neglect it in its entire form. I could never do that. If it wasn't for the Baptist church, there would have never been roundups and AUBA and certain camping trips where no Diddy action was going on in our childhood. However, I've heard horror stories of other church camps, Presbyterian and so on. Not saying that the Presbyterian faith were charged with any type of crimes in a sexual manner. I'm just naming other denominations, so bear with me. Those of you all who grew up Jehovah's Witness, free thinkers, Seventh-day Adventists, you know who you are. You've been taught, you came up through systems, you've been given books, different literature, depending on your faith, and then it's up to you to apply that knowledge in your day-to-day walk. Not to be long-winded, but whenever you're studying for a test, sometimes your teacher may give you different pamphlets, different outlines, different glossaries even, an index, different assignments to make sure that you're not cheating off of one another. Those of you all who paid attention in school, preferably in those last few years of school, like, 11th and 12th grade, you remember when some of your good teachers, better yet, your great teachers would give you different outlines, different material to study to make sure you didn't cheat off your homie. If I knew my man Regis was already like ahead of the game and got a 97%, I would assume sometimes that I would want to take from his index cards and his notes. However, then our teacher became slick and she would give him a separate outline. His test would be test C, mine might be test B. Therefore, if I copy off of him, or I even took his whole mindset, I could get a failing grade. So what am I saying to you all out there now who's listening? Whether he gave you Islam, he gave you Hebrew Israelite, pardon me, Salah. Whether he gave you some Catholicism background, whether he gave you atheists as parents, and then someone else approached you with the knowledge, you still taking that same test, baby. Do you understand who the Most High is and how it operates? Some of you all call it the universe. We like to look at the one that controls the universe, but if your heart is attached to what God has done for you and all of the sacrifices that were made for your being to be so-called saved, and you believe in your heart that your salvation depends upon, in our case, our understanding of who the Most High is, his son, and how we will do our walk. But another brother may tell you, Jesus is my savior, but I grew up Muslim. Who am I to tell him that he has the wrong test? The only thing that I could advise you all out there who are just so Afrocentric, so reprobated in your thinking, if you're not taking a test, are you failing? Or are you just slow? And that's a question for the masses. Because in my belief system, I do think that a lot of us who grew up, whether it's in the church, out of the church, or with some type of understanding, we're still taking the same test. And who is the one that's correcting your test? You already know who that is. So when it's time for you to get called up to that desk, like we used to do in scholastic days, if they tell you, you know what? You would have got this right if you just carried the one. I know I'm showing my age, or you didn't put up the right integer, or you used the wrong math equation. I remember them days. They would give you a chance to go back to your seat. Do y'all remember? You would go back to your seat and then correct whatever error that the teacher kind of gave you a hint that you are slipping with. There's some slippage in your thinking, right? And then you had other teachers that might have been in art and other electives. Again, I know I'm getting old, but some things are universal. That art teacher may tell you, you know what? Come by and see me after school because I want to help you. And then they'll give you a chance to retake that test or redo that project. Do y'all remember? Well, it's the same thing that's going on right now in our spiritual journey. Don't tell me God has not saved you many a day when you was in your wrong day, when you was upside down in life. Some of you all may still be getting corrected because you're not passing the test. Now, there are several quizzes that we going through, metaphorically speaking. But as far as the ultimate test, you might get 4 or 5 probably in a lifetime, man. Some of you all have financial gain. Some of you all are spiritual gurus. Some of you all have an intellectual sword, pardon me, that you're able to slice and dice things. So you need to be tested in different ways. But when God calls you to come up, sometimes, man, you may get a 97%, but if you want the 100, you have to go back and redo it. Are you willing to? And this goes for me. I'm sitting here talking like y'all understand that, man. I'm struggling. Trust and believe. I'm not telling you this as a browbeater or judging anyone. I'm telling you, I'm doing the same studying that you are. Obviously, I have a faith and an understanding, but I'm starting to understand that I need to pay attention to my paperwork. Pay attention to the test that I've been assigned to. And in this case, it's test B for my real name. You feel me? I can't keep looking at test Z. I can't keep looking at test AB. Test Dijon. Test, pick a name. Tisha. Test Brene. It doesn't matter. They're taking a separate test. They may even be actually a little bit behind me. So I'm just dropping a little metaphor on y'all, man. We are all taking the same test. And if we're not taking any test, and you're just skipping class having fun, you've failed. And you've possibly failed for the last time. All right? This is your man who did it. Coming at you with another episode and another installment to the classic series, Reality Clips. And this one was titled, We Are All Taking the Same Test. Be blessed. Yeah.